So lawmakers, they have decided to send another letter to the president regarding stimulus checks, reoccurring payments. And if you guys watch my videos, you know how I feel about this. We're going to talk about it, these letters that are going out to the president. But we're going to focus on this latest letter. We also have the petition out there, and I'll briefly talk about the petition. This 2 million people have signed a petition saying that we should receive a fourth stimulus check or another stimulus check. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And in the big scheme of things, where does that lie, this 2 million, compared to our population in the U.S.? And then I also want to talk about more support. So we have lawmakers now. We have I think it's up to about 80 lawmakers that are saying, look, we are on board for a fourth stimulus check or reoccurring payments. And so we have some things on the table right now. It's starting to, we're starting to see more support, which is good. I mean, we went from 70 to 74 to now we have 80 lawmakers that are saying, yes, we want another round of stimulus checks. And so that's good. We're moving in the right direction. However, there's a long way to go. And so we're going to talk about those things. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please hit the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this letter. And I'll show you an article here. Now, I'm not going to show you the actual letter. If you want to, I can post a link in the description. You guys can check it out. But basically, the headline title here is Fourth Stimulus Check Update. It says, more Democrats push Biden for reoccurring checks. Here we have lawmakers writing a letter and sending it to the president. And the reason that I have a problem with this is they are legislators. They are the ones that create the bill. And they're going to write a letter to the president who does not create bills. Okay, he signs off on it in the end, but he doesn't create a bill. They create the bill. They decide what's in the bill. But they're writing a letter sending it to the president. This is more time wasted. This is why when we're looking at government and we say it's not working, it's not functioning properly, it's not efficient, this is why. We should not have legislators sending letters to the president. Because all they need to do, they could focus that energy on creating a bill and getting that bill through Congress. So when you write a letter and you send it to the president, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And to even go a step further, 3 weeks ago, the White House, they addressed the whole stimulus check thing. The question was out there. A reporter asked about a fourth stimulus check. And Press Secretary Psaki, she responded by saying, this is going to be up to Congress. If Congress wants to add a stimulus check to one of these infrastructure bills, and right now it looks like it's going to be the American Families Plan, if they want to add stimulus checks to that, it's going to be up to them. However, she said the stimulus checks are not free, which we all know they're not free, but it's going to be up to Congress in order to decide this. So why write a letter after getting that information from the press secretary who speaks on behalf of the White House, who speaks on behalf of the president? Why write a letter to the president saying this is what we need when the White House has already punted the ball? They've already punted the ball back to you and said, look, Congress needs to get something together if they want another round of stimulus checks. And so that it's like I said, when it comes down to situations like this is a waste of time. Spend that time creating a bill. Don't spend that time writing letters and sending it to the president. It means nothing. It doesn't go anywhere, especially, I mean, if you really want to know how the president feels about stimulus checks, you could call him. You could have leadership call him. Leadership met with him last week. They could have asked that very same question. How do you feel about a fourth stimulus check? There's no need for this letter. That's stuff that the average Joe like me and you would write a letter and send it to the president, or send an email to the White House, or call up the switchboard, which, by the way, in the description, there's information to all that. So you can check out the description. You can contact your lawmaker if you'd like to do that, and let them know how you feel about stimulus checks. If you think we need another round, if you think we don't need another round, you can let them know. But when we have situations like this, it really does not make any sense why we have lawmakers doing that. And right now is the time to actually push through at least this first infrastructure bill, get this done by July 4th. That way you can move into this American Families Plan and start focusing on some of these issues. Focus on monthly payments, focus on enhanced unemployment, extending that if that's something that you want to do. So I just think it's really a missed opportunity. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the change.org, the petition, the 2 million signatures that they've received so far. Now, this sounds good. 2 million people, that's a lot. But when you look in the big scheme of things, when we're looking at the U.S. population being at 330 million people, and let's just cut that in half, 330 million, let's just cut it in half and say that, and I'm just saying, I don't know the exact numbers here, but let's say half of them are adults. We're looking at 2 million people who signed a petition. We're looking at over 165 million people if you cut it in half and say that those are at the adult age. So that's a very 2 million is a very small number when you compare to 165 million adults. So when politicians look at this and they look at 2 million, they say 2 million and then they compare it to 165 million adults. That might not move the needle that much in their mind, right? Because they're thinking, okay, well, if we were looking more at, I don't know, half of 165 million, well, maybe that would be something that we definitely need to jump on board. But at this point, that is a very small number compared to the U.S. population. However, we're hearing a lot of talk about this petition, when in reality, it doesn't really, in my mind, I'm not thinking that, okay, yes, you have 2 million people, that means we're getting another round of stimulus checks. I don't see it that way. So I want to know what you guys think. So in the comments section, let me know down below. Now, one thing I will say is you are seeing more lawmakers. We have 80 lawmakers now, so it's gone up. And that is really good. That means that we're obviously moving in the right direction, and hopefully we can gain more support. What needs to happen at this point? We don't need letters. We need actual proposals that have stimulus checks in them. Once you have those proposals on the table, then you're going to get more politicians on board. You're going to have more lawmakers saying, okay, you know what? I can go with that. And then the other important thing, now this is the key to everything. And I think this will, if this happens, we will see a lot more support. And that's the stabilizers. And you're hearing politicians talk more and more about the stabilizers. And the stabilizers basically say if the economy is bad, that's when the stimulus checks will kick in automatically. So it's not going to be something that they have to debate and negotiate for months. It will already be signed and approved and waiting. And if we need it, that's when it will be enacted. And that is one of the things that I think you're going to have politicians, and you might have politicians from both sides, and you might have Democrats and Republicans in support of this. Now, of course, the politicians need to know the details, right? We need to know how it's targeted, and if unemployment, if it rises to what level, does this automatically kick in? They're going to want to know all that information, and that's what negotiating is for, and that's why you need to have a proposal on the table. That way they can look at this and say, okay, this is what we like, this is what we don't like. But if you can put some type of stabilizers in this American Families Plan when it comes to stimulus checks, I think we have a good possibility to see stimulus checks. Okay, now that is no guarantee that our economy will be in such a condition that stimulus checks will be enacted, but we will at least have stimulus checks on the table, whereas we don't have them on the table now. And one more thing, you might even see politicians that are for these stabilizers. They might even say, you know what, let's start with maybe a $600 stimulus check or a $1,200 stimulus check, and then have stabilizers after that. So get a boost to stimulate the economy or help continue to stimulate the economy, and then come off that with stabilizers. So it won't be automatic reoccurring payments, but have the stabilizers in place. So if this $1,200 stimulus check doesn't work, then that's when we'll start seeing some reoccurring payments until the pandemic ends. So that's all I have for you guys today, but I do want to know how you guys feel about this whole situation, especially the letter. How do you guys feel about this letter that you have lawmakers sending letters to the president when they can create the laws themselves? So I want to know what you guys think about that. So in the comment section, let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.